In the mid-19th century, farmers across Europe and America discovered a soil treatment so powerful it could, well, double crop yields in poor ground within a single season. It didn't require years of composting, expensive fertilizers, or heavy labor. It was simple, fast, and devastatingly effective. And yet, within just a few decades, governments and agricultural boards moved to suppress it, replacing it with industrial solutions that suited the growing machinery age. What was this mysterious method? Why was it banned? And most importantly, could it still give modern gardeners and survivalists an edge when the world seems more fragile by the day? Stay with me, because by the end of this guide you'll not only know the history behind this forgotten trick, but also how you can use it yourself, ethically and effectively, to outgrow compost and rebuild soil anywhere. By the early 19th century, agriculture had a serious crisis. For centuries, farmers relied on manure, fallow fields and rotations to keep the soil alive. But the growing populations of Europe and North America demanded more food, faster. Families couldn't afford to let land rest for years. With every harvest, nutrients drained away, and once rich ground turned pale and lifeless. Farmers began calling their fields worn out. Grain yields plummeted, even on new frontiers, and famine loomed. Composting was already well known, but the problem was that it took months, sometimes years, to produce enough usable humus to make a difference on a large scale. Farmers needed something faster, something that could unlock fertility immediately. The method that spread like wildfire was the deliberate use of charred plant matter, what we now call biochar. Farmers discovered that when they partially burned crop residues, wood or even weeds, and then dug the resulting blackened material into their fields, the soil responded with explosive growth. Plants grew stronger, needed less water, and resisted disease better than their neighbours grown with compost alone. In many areas, yields doubled compared to untreated soil. This practice was not entirely new. Indigenous peoples in the Amazon had been using similar methods for centuries, creating the legendary terra preta, or dark earth, which still holds its fertility 500 years later. But in the 19th century, Western farmers rediscovered it independently, and for a short time it looked like a revolution in agriculture. So, why was it banned or discouraged? Well, the Industrial Revolution was in full swing, and with it came the rise of chemical fertilizers. By the 1840s, guano from Peru and Chile was being shipped in massive quantities to Europe and America. Soon after, synthetic nitrogen, phosphate powders and lime industries grew. These were products you had to buy, not make yourself. Agricultural boards, increasingly influenced by industry, declared that home char-making polluted air, wasted fuel and was, well, backward. In some regions, burning plant matter outside of industrial kilns was restricted under new fire codes. Within a generation, the simple soil char trick was dismissed as superstition, and farmers were encouraged, or even forced, to use commercial fertilizers instead. But you know, the soil never forgot. Modern researchers now confirm that those 1800s farmers stumbled onto something extraordinary. Biochar not only holds nutrients in the soil like a sponge, but also gives microbes permanent housing, improving fertility year after year instead of just being used up like chemical additives. Compost is powerful because it provides organic matter and nutrients, but it breaks down quickly. Within a year or two, much of it is gone, turned back into carbon dioxide or leached away with rain. Biochar, on the other hand, is carbon locked in a stable form. It doesn't disappear, it stays in the soil for decades or even centuries. This means every time you add it, you're permanently upgrading your soil's architecture. The char is like a skeleton in the soil. Compost feeds life, but biochar builds the house where that life can live forever. When you mix compost and biochar together, you get the best of both worlds, fast nutrition from the organic matter and long-term fertility from the char. That's why, many modern soil scientists say that this 1800s trick can easily outpace compost alone. Let's move from history to practice. You don't need fancy equipment to make and use this method. Here's how farmers in the 1800s did it, and how you can replicate it in your backyard. Start by gathering plant material that would normally be wasted. Corn stalks, branches, weeds, or even dried leaves. Instead of burning them to ash, you want to char them. That means burning them with limited oxygen. In the 1800s, farmers did this by making a pit in the ground, lighting the material, and then covering it with soil once it started burning hot. The flames died down, but the smouldering continued, turning most of the material into black porous carbon instead of ash. Once the fire cooled, they dug it out, crushed the chunks into smaller pieces and spread it across the field. The key was mixing it with some kind of activator, often animal manure, urine or decomposed food scraps. This step is still critical today. Biochar by itself is like an empty sponge. It must be charged with nutrients before going into the soil, or it will absorb them from the ground and starve plants temporarily. The old farmers instinctively knew this and always combined char with manure before planting. For a practical ratio, you can use 1 part char to 2 parts compost or manure. Mix it and let it sit for a couple of weeks if possible. Then apply it to your beds at about ½ inch thick, worked into the top 6 inches of soil. That is enough to see dramatic differences without overwhelming the system. The banning of this method tells us something important about history. Agricultural practices have never been just about what works. They've been about what fits the economic system of the time. In the 1800s, self-sufficiency and home-based fertility threatened the rise of industrial agriculture, so the methods that empowered farmers were often the first to be labelled outdated or dangerous. But for survivalists, homesteaders and gardeners who want independence from the system, those forgotten tricks are gold. Today, with rising fertilizer costs, fragile supply chains and a renewed interest in soil health, we're coming full circle. The very trick that was abandoned 150 years ago is now being revived by regenerative farmers and researchers worldwide. It proves that sometimes the old ways were not just quaint, they were ahead of their time. What makes this story powerful is not just the science of biochar, but what it represents. It's about farmers staring at dead soil and refusing to accept defeat. It's about people using resourcefulness instead of dependency, fire and earth instead of imported powders. And it's about the cycles of history, how knowledge can be celebrated, suppressed, and then rediscovered when the world needs it most. If you find yourself tending a small garden, building a homestead, or simply fascinated by survival knowledge, take this as a reminder. The answers we need for the future often lie buried in the past. The banned soil trick of the 1800s still outgrows compost because it isn't just about feeding plants. It's about restoring the very foundation of the earth. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't let it fade into the background again. Try it in your own soil, experiment with it, and see the results. And if you want more forgotten history, old world survival knowledge, and practical skills that still work today, make sure you subscribe to In the Beginning and share this with a friend. Together, we can keep these timeless methods alive, not just as stories from the past, but as tools for the future.